Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining Jaspersoft Tech Talk number 8, Dashboard Tips and Tricks. The presenter today is Rafael. He comes from our customer success team. He's been on the Tech Talks program before. You might remember him from episode number 1. He'll be talking about designing dashboards, tips and tricks. So thanks everybody for joining. We're live here in Dublin, Ireland, and I will give the presentation to Rafael. Thank you for being on the show.
Thanks, Ernesto. Hi, everyone. I'm Rafael Peguet from the customer success team in Jaspersoft. So, as you may know, the customer success team is here to look after Jaspersoft customers. So, we advocate for our customers, and we ensure to personalize your project in using Jaspersoft tools. So customer success was built created 2 years ago or more, even more in Jaspersoft, and and we had a lot of work done over those 2 years. And half a year ago, we had the need to present what we were doing and the evolution of our work, well, for ourselves so that we know what we are doing, and to our management as well. So because we are using Jasper Report Server internally, we it was quickly we understood that our need was a dashboard. So we started this project half a year ago to build a dashboard to display the activities of our team, customer success. So today I'm gonna present quickly what not to do in a dashboard, and then a couple of tips and tricks to finish with limitations. Then I have prepared a demo to present a dashboard based on our sample dashboard in the Jasper Report repository, and the samples, and how to build the dashboard. So starting with what not to do, I have four points, major points. The first one is too much data. So basically, I want summarized data in my dashboard. I don't want all a big table, a big cross tab. I don't want complex charts. So on the right, I have this big cross tab, and I have maybe too many charts, and this is more report rather than dashboard. On the left, on the other hand, I have a couple of data, and everything is black and white except one point, the red dot beside profits, which guides my eye and draw my eye to it and points that there is something wrong with it. It's red. So I may want to click on profit, and it would possibly drill to another report showing why it's red. So not too much data, go to the point, answer one question. So the business user using that dashboard would consume the information quickly. Secondly, I would recommend to avoid flashy effects. So basically, same point, go to the information directly. A 3D would add too much details, and and I would lose maybe time trying to understand those details instead of just getting and consuming the information which I'm looking for when I use my dashboard. So the 3D ring on the right, top right, would definitely be something not to use in a dashboard. This might be good in a report to look nice in a report, but in a dashboard, I want to see exactly proportions, and the 3D effects may, change even the proportions. So I want to fly pie charts, and there are these talks about around pie charts. I mean, I'm using a lot of pie charts here in my examples, but in the screenshots. But if you, some people may like pie charts, and this is easily I can understand that. And very quickly you can read a pie chart if there are not too many categories, and this is fine. But if you can use something else than a pie chart, stacked bars or just simple lines, this might be easier to read. Sometimes to compare two slides, if they are too close in size, it might be difficult to understand which one is the largest. And the bar charts may display that better, but uh, yeah, there are other charts and graphs category and types. So you may want to use other uh, reports than pie charts. On the third point, second last, avoid complex charts and graphs. So you may want to have complex charts and graphs in the report, but in your dashboard, uh, I need to understand quickly what is the information. And to achieve that, simple is the key. So avoid complex charts. On the right, you can see uh, those large dots to guide my lines, but it's difficult. It makes it difficult to read uh, and follow the lines. Whereas on the left, 6 bars, I understand quickly the correlation with inflation. Direct energy is the biggest. US equity is the smallest. 2 colors, very simple. Um, Fourth and last thing not to do is uh, excessive complexity. So avoid using too many uh, reports in your dashboard. So each chart, each table may be simple, but if you add too many, and this is something that many users would do, they would just add as much as possible in their dashboards to know everything about everything in their dashboard. So this is something to avoid. Stay simple and add the complexity in the report, and add hyperlinks or drill through from your dashboards to detailed reports, but avoid adding too much information in your dashboards. You need to get to the information and understand the main points very quickly on your by just opening the dashboard. And you need to understand that when you may be familiar with the dashboard, it may be easy for you to read the dashboard, but for someone new, it should also be easy to read it and get familiar very quickly. Within 1 minute, I understand the KPI. I understand um, the what the dashboard is about and what information it gives me, and also, and based on that, I understand what's wrong and what's good. So avoid excessive complexity. So I'm gonna go to the tips and tricks, and I have three parts here. I'm gonna start with the design and and prototypes. So make prototypes.
So do you have any tips for taking the requirements from the business? So if you talk about making prototypes, you assume that you've already gotten the requirements. But from your experience, did you learn anything about, you know, what this non-technical person is asking you, how to, really extract information? It's a classical IT problem. It's like the business wants something, they're not quite sure how to describe it until they see it, and then they say, "No, that's wrong. I want this instead." Do you have any tips for how to communicate more effectively with the business?
Yes, I did find I did experience that, and not only on this project. I can think of my second line manager who wanted another dashboard, and it was actually difficult to know what he wanted, although he had many questions. But then, getting back to him, and he wouldn't understand really what I was saying because I was speaking about types of charts that he doesn't know. So basically, I would use visual. So usually managers, they understand to see when they see. So maybe using a simple um, drawing application, draw things and display them. And yeah, it would go with a lot of communication. So you submit, they come back, and without even starting to build the first query to your database to gather the information, you would uh, draw even on a piece of paper and submit that. And yeah, this would fill the gap between his way of thinking and your way of thinking, and you would go to a common point. But you will never get the right solution from even after 10 prototypes. There will be changes, but the idea is to minimize those changes later and save time. So that was prototypes. Something simple, and everyone may think about it, but align everything. So it just looks better when everything is aligned. All my charts and reports, my dashboards are aligned, even if they are not the same size. I want to make sure the one which is largest maybe is twice as large as the smaller reports. So they still align with it, and same gaps in between each report. About the color, I would recommend use few colors. So not too many colors. If you have three categories you're interested in and you view them in different aspects in your on your dashboards, then keep the same colors for each category. So if in my pie charts the orange is North America, I want to keep orange for North America in the other charts or reports on the dashboard.
So I have just a quick comment about that. I don't know if you're gonna get to show anything in iReport, but the way that I've solved that in the past is I've created like standard templates, and I've created what's called um, a style, like a Jasper report style, and you can include those in all your reports, which has the same like shading of red. You can have a million combinations of red. So I found that to be pretty useful, and then to reuse images and things like that. So I'll actually post in the chat a small blog post that I wrote of probably a year ago now that has some of those types of tips if you want to get them about designing those. So sorry about that interruption. I'll let you continue, Raphael.
No, that's very good point. So we have styles, and what styles do basically is you set your colors, fonts, font type, size, etc., everything, every aspect, and you can apply those styles on elements in a report. So basically, you would just start by building the style, and you would spend the time on building the style. But then, building all the reports for your dashboards or other reports, you can just in a property you would pick the style and it would apply your colors. So the effort of look and feel is usually taking a lot of time, and it's very time consuming. So using style, you would save that time by spending a bit more at the beginning, same as prototypes, you would save a lot more time later. And another benefit of styles is that if later it changes, you change the one color in one place and then it would apply on the reports. So yeah, this is a very good point, Ernesto. Thanks. and this would also, you know, go with branding. So we like the branding would be which can the font, which color, which size you want for the titles and data displayed. And I want all the titles of my reports in my dashboards to be the same size anywhere to look better. So if I apply my branding and in my styles, so everything is gathered together. Another advice for branding, I have found, and there are a couple of tools and even websites where you can, based on well, the default one would be I take the main color of my company, so this dark blue for Jaspersoft, and I pick that color and I put it in my tool or in this page on the internet, and it would give me a palette of colors. So I was using palettebuilders.com, I believe, and um, and it would give me three colors complementary with my Jaspersoft color, and that way I just take those three colors and I apply on my style, and I apply my styles on the reports, and so everything is unified, branded, and looks good. So to go to the design bullet points, I would, you know, better than a lot of the numbers in table, use indicators. So a traffic light, red, orange, green. So am I doing good, bad? Nothing simpler than this, and you can understand very quickly. Or a meter or bar charts will be a bit more complicated, but still better than just simple data in a table. So when it makes sense, use indicators. And the last thing about design would be, um, you have to consider on which supports there will be the dashboard will be viewed. So now, since Jaspersoft, Jasper Report Server 4.0, we can view, or 4.5, we can view the dashboard on mobile devices. And so if your end users will view on a smartphone, you have to consider that the resolution may be smaller, and you would want to avoid a lot of scrolling up and down or zooming too much. So consider the device on which it will be viewed. It might be difficult to fit all purposes, phone and desktop, because something which looks good on the phone will not look good on desktop. And there will be in a coming release of Jaspersoft we have in our pipeline to allow it to display differently if it's viewed on a phone or desktop.
Yeah, that hopefully will be something that's released at the end of the year. Yeah, just to add to the point about size to fit on all devices, recently worked on a project where televisions were going to be used to show Jaspersoft dashboards. There were, I think, 20 televisions. They were all exactly the same model. We knew the resolution of the monitors, and so we designed the dashboards to be exactly that size. And so if you know exactly the resolution and you know that the only place that they're going to be designed is for those, then you can take that consideration at design time. It is much harder to say, I'm going to build a dashboard that's going to work perfectly on this like 1366 by 768, monitor and my small phone. So it's, I would argue, well, I think you have something coming up about that, but I would, it's dangerous to try to design it for all, because then none will be good. So I would tend to do different versions for different devices, but that's, up for discussion.
Yeah, would make sense. It's yeah, and hopefully it will improve, but at the moment it would be will be very tricky to get it perfect on all devices. The next category would be reports. So the reports you're adding um, simple. So that's my screenshot on the right. This is actually one of the reports I've added in customer success activities dashboard. So just one number. You can click on it and it shows the list of the 234 activities for the last 30 days, but just that number. And surprisingly, this is the one used the most when I hear meetings about quarter end. This is the number which is used. We have done that many activities, and very simply, I just query my database and get these activities and display that in dashboard. And this is actually the one used the most. So simple is good. And summarize and then drill through. So this is the same idea. So I just have the general view and I allow my users to click on the number and it would open a report and gives me the details around that number. Last thing is parameters. So with Jasper Report Server, you can have parameters, and I will show that in a demo just after, where the parameter or the parameters can be used in different reports of my dashboard. So I have two different reports in my dashboard and one parameter, one input control for country, for example. And when I update the country, it will automatically update, or after pressing the submitted button, it will automatically update in the two reports. So how do I do that? The only thing is to make sure that the parameters in your different reports are called the same way. So if they have the same name, then it will be displayed as one input control in my dashboard, and I will be able to control the two reports with one input control, And if I have many input controls, Jasper Report Server allows, at design time, allows to add a clear button. And again, if I modify all my input control, I may not remember what was by default. So clear button, I go back to the original values. Again, to make the user experience better. Couple of limitations. I still have my dashboard waiting for me. So, well, that's what we were saying, scaling for screen sizes. So I believe we've covered that. It's difficult, and it's coming up in next release where we'll be able to display one dashboard differently for different support, but still will be not perfect, and you may want to display different dashboards depending on the devices. Flash. So you can add Flash charts, Flash widgets, and Flash components into a report, and that report can be added in a dashboard. But if the dashboard is displayed on the smartphone or tablet, then some of them don't support Flash and won't appear. Also, if you want to print using Flash, can be a trouble. So I would avoid using Flash, and this also adds complexity. So a simple chart, get to the point, display the information, nothing's better. And that's the last limitation is based on my example. So that was actually preparing the first Tech Talk. So that was back in beginning of December. I was presenting the how to build my repository, and how to secure my repository. And I wanted to just demo a simple repository where I would show, organizations and by departments, and I wanted to add a dashboard in my repository. So the way I've done it, I created a new organization and in Jasper Report server, and I wanted to just display the repository for that organization, so logging as a user from that organization. And and I wanted to just reuse the sample dashboards we had uh, to make it quicker for the preparation, and I tried to copy the dashboards to my new organization, and I faced a lot of issues. So this is probably not something you you will need to do so often, but you have to consider that your dashboard is linked to reports, which may link to images, sub-reports, and input controls. And your input controls are using a list of value, for example, as a reference. So there is a lot of elements referenced from that dashboard and going down the reports referencing some other elements. So because you cannot access a resource from a different organization within your organization, everything will break. The reference will say the same, but the resource wouldn't be available. So I would, yeah, advise be careful moving a dashboard from one organization to another one. So if no questions, I will go to the demo, and you have seen it already. But basically, I will just log out. Okay, not saving my dashboard. And I will log into my organization one as Jasper admin. And I just want to show you first the dashboard we have in our samples. That's Supermart's dashboard. And I wouldn't consider it's the perfect dashboard, but basically you will be able to see that I have several reports, so 3 reports here displaying information about sales. So this is answering one question: how am I doing with sales? The top 5 customer by quarters and for each month. And I have conditional formatting, so very quickly I can see the highest value and the lowest value. So red and green, very easy to read, and it's also displayed in those meters, revenues and profits. So it's easy to understand, although there is a lot of data, and someone who may not be familiar with can be a bit lost at the beginning. I also have input control where I can pick a different month and I submit. So the 3 reports takes the same input control, because in my reports I named my parameters the same way as a start month here. So automatically I see that now it's only from March till the end of the year, and my charts only displays, and the summary only displays the result for this time range. And the last thing is drill through. So I may be interested in my top customers and the top number 1 customer, and I can easily click on the name, and it would open the detailed report about that client. So, and I have 3D pie charts here, but if I prefer, I can have it here, but it's not in my dashboard. And now I can understand better my information in a detailed way. So I will just go through how to build the dashboard. And I'm going to use, so I'm using Jasper Report Server 5.0. And so this 5.0.1, which is basically a maintenance release on top of it. So basically everything, it's our latest version in terms of functionalities. You can view that on bottom left, 5.0.0. For my dashboard, so I just went create dashboard, and it opens this view that you also have, well, similar view than when you create an ad hoc report. And on the left, I can see what is available to add in my dashboard. So I have special content like the input control. So there is none at the moment because it would take them from my report. And I can add a custom URL. That's what I will show in the second part. So I will use my unit sales trend report. I can click on it and maybe place it at the top. And it's opening my report, and I will maybe hide the scroll bars to use all the space. And because it's an ad hoc report, very quickly it rescales and it shows me with the nice high charts my data. So I can put that here. And now I can see that in my input controls, so only one reports are using those input controls. So it appears in single report controls. It would appear in multi-report controls if I had a second report using the same parameters.
Okay, I just want to stop you there because um, that's one of the main points of a dashboard is that you can take multiple reports and you glue them together, and the way you glue them together is through shared input controls. So here we see this report has an input control called product family and one called customer country. I could write a second report which has those same parameters, product family and customer country, for example. And it can be a completely different report. It might come from even a different data set. But as long as they have an input control that is the same, when you drag them together into a dashboard, they can then interact with each other. So if I change the product family in one report, it's affected in both. So sorry, just wanted to stop you and clarify that in case somebody hasn't done it before.
Yeah, that's good point. And I will use I will show that with a custom URL in this demo. So I will show that. So I will drag my input control on the right of my dashboard, and if I select food, automatically it refreshes all the reports using this this parameter and display for food only, or drink, or consumable. So if I add the submit button and the reset button, then I need to, well, with the submit button, I can change my parameters, and now it doesn't update automatically. I need to press the submit button to have the results in the, I have to just reset, um, in the report.
Quick question, Raphael. How would you set the default values for a dashboard for an input control? Like
Oh, yeah.
by default, when you hit reset, it shows some value. How do you get that value?
So those values would be set when you set the default value in the report itself. So when you define the input control, uh, you have the options, and it's not mandatory, so you may not put any value, but you have the option of defining a default value for that input control. And that input control is hard-coded in JRXML. So when you drag your report in the dashboard, then the default value would be taken from the JRXML, and the reset button would get back to that value as well.
Okay, and then for ad hoc reports, I think it's just the one that you selected in the designer. So if you select it in the view, then you save the report, then that's the default because there is no JRXML there.
Yeah, yeah, for the ad hoc case. The last thing I want to do on this dashboard, simple dashboard, is add a custom URL. So it's mainly to show how a custom URL work. I'm just copying the link from my search box. So I can even show the result from a search engine. So I'm using Exalead here, and it's actually very quick. Automatically it takes the page. I will just resize it, and when I edit my URL, so that's something I can do, I see my input control, and I can pass the input control as parameters in the URL. So now it's even simpler. It usually in the past we used to just write it in a query. Now we just pick the one we want to use in the URL. It will automatically add the question mark sign and the query parameter name. So for Exalead, it's Q, which is taking the research query um, that I want. And I said that Q will take my customer country. So doing this, then I have picked Canada, so it searches for Canada. And if I make maybe my chart smaller and I move my buttons up, then I will be able to show that, for example, the news on Canada, and that's the result I will see. And if I update to Mexico, I submit, then I have latest news for Mexico as well as the trend. So maybe there's news from Mexico explaining the trends. Or I may want to see those two information in my dashboard, although I don't see really the link here. But really the important point here is I can add an HTML page into my dashboard when it makes sense.
Okay, just I'm going to point out a couple things here. First is this is the dashboard designer. You can, of course, save this dashboard into the repository, and you can view the dashboard without all the other stuff. So if you just want to hit the preview button, Raphael, just to show them what that looks like this is more of the finished product. Of course, this is just a test. It's you could do a lot more with it. But that's more what it looks like for the end user at the end. The second thing I wanted to point, if you can just go back to the designer, is if you right click on an element for a second, just right click on like the unit sales trend. Auto refresh interval is an interesting one. So if you set that to, let's say, 5 minutes, when somebody has the dashboard, viewing, it'll auto refresh. Like for the dashboards that were displayed on television screens, that was a nice feature because they're just like they're mounted on the wall, nobody's manipulating them. So every half an hour or so, when the data is loaded, you can refresh the dashboard automatically and you can get the new trends. That's great for like stoplights and things like that. Two more things. Another one was a little tip that you can get in the Jasper Report Server Ultimate Guide about how you position the elements. So you saw Raphael moving those around. You can actually select them, and you can use the arrow. So don't hold shift right now. Yeah. So if you use the arrow, you get like this kind of rough guide to move around. And then if you hold down, it's control, and then you use your arrows, you move 1 pixel at a time. So then you can get the alignment perfectly. And then finally, just a semantics thing. When Raphael added this external content, now in this case, it's a search engine. In the real world, there's no reason why you would ever do that. But you can imagine it's another web application that takes a parameter or something like that. it's called a mash board because you've mashed together multiple elements. So it's just a semantics thing, BI semantics. Okay, so that's it. You can continue. Sorry, Raphael.
Yeah, yeah, I had plans to talk about those control arrow. This is very useful because I want to align all my reports, and sometimes I may need to go one pixel up, one pixel down, and this control is uh, control arrow is very useful, and especially if I want to have the exact same gap in between my elements. And yeah, that's basically the demo. So I now I can answer to questions, I believe. If you have
Sure.
if you have
Well,
questions.
did you have another slide where you showed the customer success dashboard? Is that possible to show? If you can't show it, that's okay. We can just go to the questions, but Raphael has more of a real example in Jaspersoft. But if you can't show it, that's I totally understand that. But I thought you had a screenshot of it.
Yeah, we are a bit short on time. I can go to that. Um, so yeah, I had a small conclusion for how we did in customer success for the dashboard. So this is the dashboard I built. After couple of weeks, it was refined, and it's still being refined in some ways when we want to see maybe a new category which is coming as new requirements lately. So it's still, you know, there are requirements coming, and uh, even though we talked a lot, it's changing. But this is the way it looked. So I had a couple of ideas for the conclusions. Um, Key metrics. So use key metrics in your dashboards. For example, top 5 deals, or list 5 efficient departments. Might be interesting to follow that, or top 5 customer, and then drill through to have the full list instead of displaying directly the full list in your dashboard. Keep it simple and concise. So same, I was saying, avoid 3D charts, align elements, focused on most important metrics, on few most important metrics. So basically, this will be identifying your KPI.
Great. And that is a nice looking dashboard. I like the, they have to be, I think by design, they have to be kind of sexy as well, the dashboards, and yours meets that requirement, I think. It's nicely laid out. It seems like the most critical information is highlighted in different colors, and like you said, um, the colors along your charts match different yeah, like when you switch charts, you don't your eye doesn't have to learn a new color coding scheme. It's kind of the same one. So that's very good. Okay, so should I move to questions? Great, great, great. Oh, so the next Tech Talk subject will be about Jaspersoft ETL. It's next Tuesday, but it'll be at 6 p.m. instead of 10 a.m. Like this time, because we're going to be doing it from the US. Okay, so the questions, we actually don't have a ton of them. One question is, I don't have a create dashboard button. And another one is the dashboard available on the free version. So those two are actually related. The dashboarding feature only comes with the professional and enterprise editions of Jaspersoft, but it doesn't come with the community or free edition as it was called in the question. You can always get a 30-day trial, and you can import your community stuff into it to give it a shot for 30 days. You'll also probably notice like some of the widgets that you can use in dashboards are much more attractive and there's a bigger range of them and they're animated, that's because there's different charting libraries in the commercial editions. There's a charting library called Fusion Charts and one called High Charts. Both of those are actually going to be HTML5 right now. One of them is Flash. Okay, the other question is, can you summarize again what dashboards do that reports do not do? So I'll take this one as well. So multiple. So to summarize, to me, the biggest thing that you can do on a dashboard is that you can have multiple reports joined together with common input controls, regardless of the data source. Some other things that you can't do is bringing in external content. That one's kind of harder in just a report. And then the other big one would be the auto refreshing. So in general, it's just putting together multiple reports joined by input controls would be the big takeaway there. Next question, is it possible to add a link to a dashboard to access another dashboard? Raphael, maybe take that one. Or...
Yeah. Adding a dashboard in another dashboard, yeah, it's possible.
Oh no, well, that's an interesting one. You can nest a dashboard inside a dashboard, but the question was about a hyperlink from dashboard 1 to dashboard 2 outside.
All right, sorry. Yeah, you can basically hyperlink to any other resource from Jasper Report server or outside, like with this with search engine. So yeah, this is just a matter of uh, a URL, and you can take the URL from your dashboard and make one element in your dashboard as a hyperlink with that URL, and clicking on it will bring you to the new dashboard. So this is fairly simple.
Okay, there's something I guess maybe missing in where the question comes from. It's about probably about how do you pass a value from one dashboard to another. And it's a little bit trickier than just a report, a drill through report. You have to say and hidden underscore name of parameter. So I don't know if you want to open up your demo environment again and I can quickly show that. If you hit preview, if you want to add a parameter there called and hidden. Oh, you can't do it in preview. That's okay. Well, you have to save it if you, but we don't have to show it if you don't want to. Just know it's and hidden underscore name of parameter, and then you'll have access to it. We probably can't demo it either, Rafael, because I don't actually know the name of the parameter. See how you have those labels, product family? That's the visible label. There's a resource ID. If you want to show how to get the resource ID, you can. But we'd have to know that before we were able to call the parameter. So hopefully that answers the question. It's maybe that's the one that I'll type out for this week's show. Okay, so there don't seem to be any other questions that have come in, so we're right on time. I just want to thank everybody for coming. We have people from around the world now joining these tech talks, and so stay tuned for the next ones. And Rafael, thank you very, very much for being on the show again. I don't know if you have any closing comments about your presentation, but it was an excellent one, so thank you.
No, no. Thanks everyone. I hope this was very helpful for all of us. Bye.